This is a series of battles in Desert Fox's Barbarian Brawl tournament. I have to get these games out of the way quickly because some nights my daughter just doesn't want to go to bed. She wants to stay up and play for as long as possible, and I promised her I would help her build some Duplos, so I had to ideally make all of these games sub 10-minute games. So that was the challenge: finish the games as quickly as possible. So that's the reason why I can put them all together, because they are very short games. Now I come up against Odrician Kingdom, against Nacho Grande, and I picked Suebi. I have 6 Swordmasters, Club Levy Speed Bump, 2 Spear Levy on each side, 2 Spear Levy in the back. Then I have 4 Germanic Slingers, and for Cavalry I have 4 Germanic Scout Riders. Nacho Grande has a mix of Thracian Warriors, 3 Thracian Warriors. He has, I believe, 4 Thracian Nobles, 2 more Thracian Warriors on the flanks, a Mercenary Folksman up front, 2 Thracian Cavalry, 2 Thracian Horsemen, and a Thracian Royal Cavalry. So it's going to be super hard for him to make this build work against Suebi. Look at how quickly the Thracian Warriors are going down, for example. That's 1 unit rendered combat ineffective. You have to keep away from the Thracian skirmishers, try to kite the missiles, but I don't really have the time to play the long game here, so I'm just going to, since he is running up, I'm just going to stay here and wait for the opportune moment to get a devastating charge in, keep doing damage on the flanks, screen away his Thracian cavalry with my spear levy, sending out my club levy a bit prematurely, but I just want to get these mercenary folksmen off the field, fire at them. Ideally I want to blob up the Thracian nobles with my club levy, activating Ariovistus, charging in against the Dacian spears. I want to get them off as quickly as possible. The charge bonus is activated, should do very well against the Thracian nobles with the charge bonus activated. I'm still sort of losing that engagement, but here comes support in. So I'm able to defeat his Thracian nobles decisively. His general is off the field, and at this point it doesn't really matter that he's into my skirmishers with his Thracian Royal Cavalry. They did their job in sniping the enemy general, and not much that Nacho Grande can do at this point. He has his cavalry left, but it's getting tied down quickly. He's able to get some nice rear charges against my Swordmasters in the center, and he's actually able to break some of them. There is this unit of Thracian nobles still alive. My Swordmasters activated Headhunt to make them stay in the fight. They're killing Thracian nobles very quickly. Thracian warriors up against Spear Levy. They're going to win that one, of course. My general is still doing fine, chasing after his last remaining cavalry units. And that's it. So the rules for the Barbarian Brawl was only Barbarian units, max 10 of the same, so you could only have max 10 sword units. Which is unusual, but makes sense, I guess. So now it's just down to taking care of the Thracian skirmishers, and that's game 1. Game 1 went to me. In the next battle, El Nacho Grande has the first pick of faction. He's going to pick Galatia, and I'm going to pick a risky faction. I'm going to pick the Nervii, because the rules in this tournament are such that you cannot use the same faction twice up until round 3. So this is why I'm using the weaker factions first. It is risky, but let's see if I can make it work. So another sub 10-minute game. Just going to start skirmishing with my Germanic Scout Riders, but I have to be more careful here because these mercenary horse skirmishers are very dangerous to my Germanic Scouts with their high missile damage. There are also Syrian archers on the field, so my build consists of 3 mercenary Germanic Scout Riders. I have 6 Fierce Swords, then I have 2 Oathsworn in the center. I have 2 Levy Freemen on each flank, 2 Levy Freemen in the center. Then I have 4 Mighty Horse. Nacho Grande has 6 Galatian Legionaries. He has 2 Galatian Swords on each flank. Then he has 2 mercenary Syrian archers. He has a Noble Horse General and 3 Levy Freemen speed bumps. So you can see the balance of power does not favor me here, and that is mainly because he has a lot of Galatian Legionaries. So my Oathsworn aren't going to be a problem for him if he's able to charge them with his Noble Horse or fire at them with his mercenary horse skirmishers. So I need to get pretty much perfect charges in order to make this work. I'm just going to move up, do a bit of skirmishing here. Not doing too well in the skirmish because I'm busy moving my guys, so it would have been a lot better to just keep my guys back. Here you can see me making massive mistakes. I'm stopping my units, and that enables him to get off a lot of volleys. But I have to finish these games so quickly that I don't really have the time. Here you can see a failed frontal cavalry charge going into the levy freeman and just destroying that unit because of the second line of infantry. So that is a good example of how not to YOLO charge. Basically lost the whole unit. And didn't get anything back for it, and more atrocious charges coming down the line, killing a lot of Galatian legionaries on the charge, but getting a decent charge in the center here. My Oathsworn were stopped by this levy freeman, so that was a massive mistake that might easily cost me the game. I'm also allowing these horse skirmishers to do a lot more damage to me than I should. So levy freeman coming in, doing nice damage to his cavalry, charging into his Galatian swords from the front. These Galatian legionaries are reforming and doing weird stuff. In the center, things are going fairly well. I think these Galatian legionaries are on formation attack, and that is why they are moving in such a weird manner. So he's going to lose a lot of Galatian legionaries due to that. Managed to get my fierce swords into his levy freeman. They should destroy the levy freeman, but he is sniping my general something fierce here. He's also able to do well with his mercenary Cappadocians over here, able to get a rear charge and break up my fierce swords in the center. My Oathsworn are doing okay against the Galatian legionaries, but it might be a mistake to use 2 units against one like this and blob up, because now my lines are so extended that he'll be able to use his cavalry to devastating effect against me. So my mercenary Germanic scout riders managed to get into the Syrian archers, but they are taking fire from levy freeman. Did not manage to take the Syrian archers off the field, so that was massive. Since I lost with my fierce swords, he's able to pour in and gang up on my Oathsworn just before he is able to defeat the Galatian legionaries. And at this point, there is nothing that I can do to stop from being surrounded. I made very bad decisions in the beginning, played way too carelessly, and Nacho Grande countered my moves very well. I want to say that I lost this battle all on my own because of how I engaged in the beginning there, wasting the mighty horse and such. So devastating victory for Nacho Grande. 1577 kills, doing very well with this noble horse in rear charging my fierce swords. The fierce swords that got good charges got nice kills, but I completely wasted my Germanic scouts and my mighty horse in this battle, while his Galatian swords did really well and his Galatian legionaries did very well too. So this was a bad faction pick for me against Nacho Grande, but I did not play the Nervii to their full potential because of how poorly I set up the charges. So that means we're going to move into the tiebreaker, and this is a tiebreaker between Boii and Boii. It's the worst melee spam faction against the worst melee spam faction. So we made some different choices here regarding our army setup. For my army, and I did manage to make this game very short as well. I have six sword followers. I have 1 Oathsworn. Then I have an axe warrior in support. I have 3 levy freemen, 2 Celtic warriors on each flank. Then I have some heavy horse spread out across the field. I have 5 heavy horse. For Nacho Grande, he has 3 Oathsworn. He has 4 sword followers, 2 Celtic warriors, 1 axeman. He has 3 levy freemen and 4 of the heavy horse. So again, I'm going to try to be super aggressive, get the game over with as quickly as possible so I can start making Duplos. Not the best state of mind to be in, I guess, but just charging straight in. Going for, let's see here what I'm going to try to do. I'm using my heavy horse against his Celtic warriors because they should do a lot of damage there. Then I'm using my heavy horse against his Celtic warriors over here. In the center, I am using my levy freemen in a horrendous way because I'm going to block my own charges with them. Over here, I managed to get the heavy horse into the axe warriors, and Nacho Grande's cavalry isn't responding here. So these engagements are not looking too bad for me. But in the center, I'm not going to get a good charge because the sword followers charge through my levy freemen. And by doing so, they managed to charge my Oathsworn general. So them charging through and stopping the charge of the Oathsworn was massive. I didn't get a good charge on my Oathsworn, so now I have to try to stop his Oathsworn general, charge my cavalry in frontally. Over here things are going okay against the Axe Warriors. I'm going to get a decent charge against the Heavy Horse here. Heavy Horse is countercharging me. Managed to get my Spear Levy into his... my Levy Freeman into his Heavy Horse over here. My Celtic Warriors down here are doing okay against his Celtic Warriors. But the main problem here is that I forget my Heavy Horse unit engaged here. And because my Oathsworn's charge was broken by the Sword Followers charging through the unit of Levy Freeman, then he's going to be able to push his Oathsworn into the backs of my back of my General and my Axe Warriors. So I have to push my Axe Warriors back to respond to the Oathsworn. I'm going to defeat his Heavy Horse over here. Doing okay against the Celtic Warriors, but his Heavy Horse is moving into support. Managed to attack the Heavy Horse with my own Levy Freeman here, so that's good. These units are charging in against the Axe Warriors and the Sword Followers. They should be able to win this engagement down here against his Heavy Horse. But overall this is not looking great because the Oathsworn managed to push through here. And some people would call the charge in the beginning there pull through because the Levy Freemen weren't really knocked down. Attack orders were given through the unit, but I'm not really going to call for a rematch because of that, because I just think it makes a complete mess of things, and I don't know whether it was intentional or not by Nacho Grande. And also I made quite a few mistakes myself in the opening engagement, so I don't think it would be fair to Nacho Grande to ask for a replay, although it can be argued whether charging through like that is a legitimate move or not. So in the center, his Heavy Horse is going down. My Oathsworn and his Oathsworn have about the same amount of men remaining. His Heavy Horse is moving in for a rear charge, but I do manage to get a nice charge against the Heavy Horse. The Heavy Horse is going down, but this Oathsworn unit is a massive problem. The Heavy Horse over here getting charged by Levy Freeman. Still another Oathsworn unit that poses a massive problem for me, because when I engage his Heavy Horse, my Levy Freemen are going to be prime target for his Oathsworn. And I have to keep my cavalry here to stop this unit from getting rear charges against me. Sending my Sword Followers in against the Sword Followers over there, I kind of forget about this cavalry unit. So I'm not able to use my cavalry to great effect here. Doing a lot of mistakes with the charges. This is a small glimmer of hope, because I managed to get my Heavy Horse into his back lines. I'm able to get into the rear of his Sword Followers. But at this point I think it's a bit too late. The Oathsworn here are just tanking too much. I'm not really doing anything with this Heavy Horse. It's exhausted because I used Frenzy, or Frenzy Charge. And my General is surrounded by two Oathsworn units, so my General is going to go down momentarily. He's losing decisively. So although I have a lot of cavalry free now to go for rear charges, my micro wasn't on point here. I was way too slow in reacting to what happened. Firing into his Oathsworn with my Levy Freeman is going to do a lot of damage to them. Again, frontal charges coming in against his Sword Followers because they are so blobbed up. Rear charge coming in against his General, but at this point my Oathsworn is up against two Oathsworn units. So very bad. Activating Headhunt to keep them in the game, but my General died, and because my General died at a very important point in the battle, I'm going to start chain routing. So a very marginal battle this. It came down to my General dying just before his General dying, and me not being able to use my cavalry to great effect, also screwing up the charges massively. So congratulations to Nacho Grande. He won 2-1, and you can see he got a significantly higher amount of kills compared to me, and that was mainly his Oathsworn doing super well there. One of his Sword Followers also did very well. One of his Levy Freemen got 112 kills, which is amazing. But you can see how poorly I did with my cavalry here. I just wasn't in a state of mind to be patient and to get what I needed out of my units. And failing to get the charge against his General in the beginning with my General was absolutely devastating. So these Barbarian matchups can be super micro-intensive. And it's going to come down to basically the charges and getting everything engaged right. To come out on top, and in this case I just wasn't able to I just wasn't able to do that as effectively as I would have needed to. Also, bringing 5 Levy Freemen might be a bit overkill. My Axe Warriors could have done a lot better if the plan went as intended and my Oath Zone charged in after the Axe Warriors, and then the Axe Warriors would have piled in to deal with the Oath Zone. But in this case, I made a few tactical errors in not frontally charging the Oath Zone, but going for the Celtic Warriors on the flanks instead. I think a massive charge against his center would have been a lot more effective. Focus on the Oath Zone and be a lot more aggressive with my cavalry. Then I think this could have been possible. But like I said, I wanted to get these games over with as quickly as possible, and that is not a good mindset to be in when you are when you're playing tournament battles. But it happens sometimes. I mean, it's not like you're able to play under perfect conditions at all times. Some days you have good days, some days you have bad days, and this was a very bad day for me. But I still want to be able to play under all different kinds of conditions. Like some players like to play only when they've had a certain number of warm-up games, when they're feeling good at certain times of day and so on. But if I'm in a tournament and both me and my opponent is available, then I'll usually just say fuck it, let's play now, although it's not the best time. Like yesterday when I played Blade Master, I was sick as hell, but it still worked somehow, although I made quite a few mistakes that I wouldn't have made otherwise. So it's just something to keep in mind, because I see a lot of players say that, well, someone can do really well for a lot of tournaments, they can win a lot of battles, have good displays, but then they lose a game or two, or even get knocked out of a tournament early, like I did now, and they say, well, that player isn't really good because he lost. And there are just so many factors that play into having a good game or not. If a supposedly stronger player is defeated by a supposedly weaker player or an unproven player, that doesn't instantly make that player a bad player. And although he certainly could have played a bad game, like the games against Nacho Grande here were horrible displays by me, and good examples of how not to use Barbarian brushes. But Nacho Grande made decisive mistakes in his first battle, and he was able to correct them. He played a lot more safely, and I played a lot more recklessly in the coming battles to get them over as quickly as possible, and that gave him the victory, and it was a well-deserved victory. So that means I'm out of the Barbarian Brawl tournament. Good luck to El Nacho Grande in the coming battles, and if you are in the tournament and you want to send me your replays, please do so, and I'll try to get them uploaded as quickly as possible. Strength and honor.